Right away I could tell that it was in bad shape. The skin and fur on the tail had been completely torn away in a typical incident of degloving, exposing the bone underneath. "Oh, it's my friend. Just some stray I've been tossing scraps to for a while," he said with a thickly accented voice. I got back in the car and looked at my aunt with tears in my eyes. Today, we would like to tell you a true story that I could never ever forget. I had just passed the city limits, driving down a dusty stretch of road with nothing around for miles in every direction, except vast open farmlands. Then I realized I needed a battery for Ted's sonic bark egg. I saw a little gas station coming up on the side of the road. The only lights for miles around. So I pulled off at this little corner shop. I parked and got out of the car. Then some movement in the corner of my eye caught my attention. It was a cat, a beautiful long-haired calico, and right away I could tell that it was in bad shape. The skin and fur on the tail had been completely torn away in a typical incident of degloving, exposing the bone underneath. Something I saw many times before with my work at the Los Angeles animal shelter. Just from looking at the wound, I could tell it was badly infected and in urgent need of veterinary care. I approached the cat and knelt down, clicking my tongue at it and going, "Here, kitty kitty." And surprisingly, she came straight up to me and began to nuzzle my hand. I knew she must have been someone's pet at that point. She was not feral. Not to mention, she was wearing a blue collar, the non-breakaway kind with no tags. I went in to buy my battery and approached the man at the counter. "Hey, whose cat is that out front?" I asked him. "Oh, it's my friend. Just some stray I've been tossing scraps to for a while," he said with a thickly accented voice. I got back in the car and looked at my aunt with tears in my eyes. "What do you want to do?" she asked me. "We can't take it with us." I sighed and knew that she was right. I'm not the kind of person to leave an injured animal anywhere. But I was so far from home and with nothing to carry her in, and I had Ted in the back seat. I couldn't rightly try to catch her, especially not with her injury. So I decided to call the local Kearns shelter for them to pick her up. I knew there was a risk that they would put her down, but it would have been much better than dying slowly from a sore, painful infection. So the next morning I called and told them where she was and gave them the necessary details. The cat didn't cross my mind again until Monday when I returned home. I called the shelter again and asked if they had retrieved her. They told me no, the officer was unable to locate her. I was frustrated but also understanding that these things do happen, so I went to work, bought a cardboard cat carrier, headed out on my own little rescue mission. By the time I arrived at the gas station, the sun had already gone down. I scoured the area searching for her. I searched for 20 minutes and then decided that she must be hiding in the scrapyard next door, an area I was not about to go snooping in. I headed back to my car, feeling defeated. And here's the really cool part. Just as my hand touched the door handle, I heard from behind me a little meow. I remember the feeling of my breath being caught in my throat, and I slowly turned around. And guess who was emerging from behind the chain link of the scrapyard? Yep, our little injured friend. I grabbed my towel and box and slowly coaxed her over to me. She came willingly. I scruffed her and wrapped her in a towel, being careful of her tail, and placed her in the box. As soon as I had her in the car and all the doors were shut, I just started bawling my eyes out. I had her. What a relief. Now, I had to figure out just what to do with her. So I took her to the only place I knew of that works with cats, since I'm new to that area. When we got there, the place was closed, but a light was on inside, so I knocked. A heavily tattooed guy answered and let me in. I explained the situation and he was willing to help. Long story short, from this point they took her and got it the attention that she needed. Her tail was amputated and her report was filed under an animal cruelty case. The vet said that he could tell by the way of the injury that she was most likely burned multiple times by a human, then abandoned out in the middle of nowhere to hide their own shame. He also said that if I hadn't gone back to get her, she would have died of the infection, as her tail was already becoming necrotic. A few weeks of healing and she was ready for adoption. I discussed it with my family and cried a lot, and finally got the okay to bring her home with me. I'm happy to say that the transition into my home went smoothly, and she has been a little blessing ever since. I was willing to take her in knowing that she could have behavioral issues, temperament problems, be fearful or even aggressive. I just wanted to make sure that she stayed safe for the rest of her life. As it turns out, she's one of the best animals I've ever owned. Infinitely sweet and affectionate, even-tempered, well-mannered and very calm. She even let me trim her nails with no fuss at all. I would just like to say that animals don't deserve this kind of treatment. They have feelings just like humans. How would you as a human being feel if you were starved to death? If you were beaten up daily? I bet you'd feel terrible about yourself, just like the animals who are abused. They probably sit around in constant pain, thinking about how they wish they could be the best pet you could ask for. Animals are sweet creatures that should never be treated this way. And that's the story of how I got my cat, Kelly. Animals My Love continues to find and collect stories about animals. If you have any, please email it to us, animalsmylove999@gmail.com. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends. All the best to you!